Hi, friends. Our book today is titled From Sheep to Sweater. I have on actually two sweaters. I have a cardigan sweater and a black sweater to keep me warm. Sweaters have thick material to help us keep warm in the fall and the winter. But did you know that some sweaters are made out of fur from a sheep called wool? These are sheeps. This is a baby sheep and this is the mama sheep. And as you can see, the baby sheep has short wool for now, and the mama's wool is growing almost like their hair. So eventually, we're going to learn to see how their wool turns into a sweater. The illustrator, there is no illustrator because these are real photos, friends. The author's name is Robin Nelson. She wrote the words, but these are real photographs, so there is no illustrator. From sheep to sweater. So here's a little picture of a sweater that's sewn from wool. A sweater keeps me warm, but how is it made? A farmer raises sheep. A farmer raises sheep and the farmer feeds the sheep every day. The sheep eat a mixture of hay, grass, and grains. This food helps the sheep grow thick, healthy coats of wool. So on the next page, here is a photo of a sheep farmer, and she's feeding the sheep. Sometimes she feeds them grass. Sometimes she feeds them grains, almost like oatmeal, like oats. Those are grains. And that helps the sheep have healthy wool or fur on their bodies. She looks pretty happy with her sheep. In the springtime, when it gets warm, the sheep's coats are clipped. That means they get a haircut. This is called shearing. A person shears each sheep's wool off in one big piece called a fleece. That's awesome. It almost looks like a blanket. The sheep will grow another coat over the summer to keep it warm in the winter. So the next photo, friends, is the man farmer, and here are his shears. He's giving the sheep a haircut. It does not hurt the sheep, friends. Look at this sheep. He's sitting down on the ground getting his haircut. So as you can see, the farmer already gave the sheep's leg a haircut, and he's taken all of this wool off of the body. It's very thick like a blanket. So the sheep gets a haircut. He's shearing the sheep. Sometimes workers sort the wool. They remove the wool that is dark or dirty, and they keep the wool that is light and white. So here the worker, he's picking up a big pile of that wool that was just shorn off of the sheep, and maybe it's clean enough to make a sweater. Or maybe he says, no, this sheep's wool is too dirty to make a sweater. So he's sorting the wool. Workers then wash the wool many, many times. Washing removes bugs, straw, and mud from the wool. Then the wool is dried. So remember, friends, a sheep lives out in the farm, so their wool can get very, very dirty, so they have to wash that wool. Okay, and as you can see, friends, this wool is very clean. It looks like it's being dried out in the sunshine. It's not a sweater yet. Let's see what happens. Workers or machines comb the wool to remove knots. This is called carding. Carding makes the wool soft. So in the next photo, here is our farmer again, and she's got a big brush in her hand, and she's brushing all that wool to make it soft for a sweater. A spinning wheel twists the wool. The wool forms long pieces of yarn. So here's the machine, and she's feeding that wool that she just brushed onto this big wheel, and the wheel twists and twists, almost like if you have hair or string. It twists the wool and turns it into string. That is awesome, friends. So first, this wool was on an animal, a sheep. Then it gets washed and dried. Then it gets brushed, and now it's turning into string. And remember, eventually it will become a sweater. The yarn is still the color of a sheep, so maybe like white or yellow. The yarn must be dyed to change its color. A worker dips the wool in a colored liquid called dye. It can be dyed any color of the rainbow. So let's take a look. This wool, wow, there it is. It's the string now. It doesn't no longer looks like a blanket from the sheep's body. Now it's real string and yarn. And it looks like they're coloring this yarn, a pink or a red. They're coloring it with dye. It's like water that has color in it. Trucks take the yarn to stores. People go to a store to buy yarn, and this girl picks out blue yarn. So the yarn that this girl is holding used to be on a sheep's body, and now she will use the yarn to create a sweater. Pretty cool. One way of turning yarn into a sweater is by knitting. A knitter uses 2 long needles to make loops and knots with the yarn. The yarn is knitted into the shape of a sweater. So on the next page, there's a photograph. There is the needles to knit. You don't poke with the needles, you twist that string. See how they have all that string twisted around the needle? And she's knitting them together to make a sweater. That is awesome. I wish I knew how to knit. The wool in my sweater used to keep a sheep warm, and now it keeps me warm, said the little girl. That's awesome, friends. So the next time you wear a sweater, think, maybe your sweater used to be part of a sheep's body to keep the sheep warm, and now it's turned into wool or yarn to keep you warm. I'll see you later, friends. Bye.